We're gonna do our media clips, shall we? Which one do you want to do? I think how Sinclair Media is bringing right-wing talking points right to your mom and dad in their Syracuse, New York small house rooms that they're living in right now. Okay, and you know what's so important about Sinclair? Why Sinclair is bad? Sinclair is further to the right than Fox. They've outfoxed Fox. I don't know if that was possible, but they are. And they they did a genius thing. They bought up local channels in all these markets because the FCC rolled back legislation saying that, you can't have a media monopoly in a market. I'm moving my rug right now as we're talking. Okay? So once that was rolled back, then the right wingers came in and tried to buy up all the news, because in places like, say, Syracuse, New York, small town, destroyed by NAFTA. When NAFTA was passed, all of the industry, all the manufacturing there went to Mexico and other places. And there were no jobs for people like my family, like my father, who, supported a middle class lifestyle while working, a blue collar job. So anywho, that's Syracuse. So basically, the people up there are labor type people, labor union type people. They may be religious, but they were never sort of anti-abortion is the biggest. They didn't do the wedge issue thing. They didn't say like abortion is the biggest problem, so I'll vote against all of my own interests because Jesus died on the cross for you, so I'll be a martyr too. So that, no one kills an unborn sack of cells. No one removes a sack of cells from their uterus. Oh God. Okay, don't get me started on that. Anyway, Sinclair bought up those TV channels. In Syracuse, New York, there is only one local station that is not owned by Sinclair. And the genius of what they did is they kept the staff. They didn't give you a whole new staff. It's the same newscasters, Maureen Green on ABC, who had been with my family for 30 years. Newscasters that have been with us for decades, people that you feel like you're sharing your life with. In smaller communities, it's not, even in New York City, I sometimes see the New York One reporters at events that I'm at, and you feel like you know them. And in Syracuse, it's like the reporters go to the farmers market and you see them there, and they go to they're part of the community. And then Sinclair gave them talking points, and it was either lose your job or do the talking points. Well, very few people are hiring a 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus year old newscaster in a B-rated market right now. So that's not, Anyway, so suddenly the people that you trusted your whole life are saying right-wing things, and it's just had this kind of effect that's been absolutely insane, turning labor people into right-wing fascists. It's crazy. I've seen it in my own family. It saddens me greatly. And here they are doing the same shit. We've got, here's the video. And here's what this guy's doing. Dangerous combination of coronavirus misinformation, politically biased coverage has found its way to local news. Thanks to Sinclair Broadcasting Group, America This Week, and its host, Eric Bolling. Right. America This Week. They also make news packages with this guy Bolling coming to talk to you. And they play it on the show. So they co-opted your own newscasters, and then they play this stuff on the show. They force it into the show. So he is defending the Trump administration's failure to effectively respond to the pandemic. They're attacking legitimate news outlets. They're launching racist campaigns to rebrand the virus. They promoted conspiracy theories, unproven treatments. This is this guy's Bolling's This Week is, that's what basically they've been doing. So here we are. He was previously a host on Fox, by the way, where he learned all his skills, and he regularly pushed conspiracy theories and misogyny and race baiting and all the stuff they do on Fox News. Birther guy, friggin' birther guy. Yeah, he left Fox in 2017 amid reports that he sent pictures of his penises to multiple colleagues. Oops. I'm sorry, penis, not penises. He has probably just the one, not sure, probably. Okay, so Bolling initially suggested that media outlets were inciting panic in order to damage Trump. Okay, let's take a look. Bolling insists on referring to the virus as the Wuhan flu or the Chinese virus. Bolling and his guests have hinted at right-wing conspiracy theories and promoted unproven coronavirus treatments. Look at these friggin' guys. Wow. And his recent political guests have largely been conservative activists and Trump administration officials. Not kidding. Okay. No liberals? No, they don't even go fair and balanced. They're like, we're Sinclair. Fuck it. We've jammed ourselves into your local news, all rapey like the rest of the Trump administration's way of doing things. Jam, jam, jam without your consent. That should be his slogan. Not make America great again, but let America rape again. That's it. All right, here's the friggin' video if we can stomach it.
Hearing on the airwaves, I'm blown away at colleagues on both sides of the aisle making
Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Here we go.
Crazy claims and disguising them as news.
I love it when he says, I'm blown away by colleagues on both sides of the aisle, making him sound like he's a middle of the road, journalist guy, when he's a right-wing fucktard. No? Can we not swear?
Both sides have collectively lost their minds. I call this peak stupid.
Both sides have lost their minds, mostly the liberals.
Have we hit peak stupid yet? Well, I wasn't entirely sure. That is, until I read Washington Post reporter Josh Rogan's tweet this week.
He's so masterful at playing on Americans' desire to be smarter than everybody else. And don't they all aim for that? They do, don't they? But I don't think so. They all aim to be, to seem like they're middle of the road. Yeah, it makes them sound like the voice of reason. How does this guy go over with Black America? Oh my God. Thank God there's this show. And I feel, thank God there's people like Nalini. Oy, oy, oy. Thank God there's James. Okay, here we go.
Rogan tweeted, at the moment America and the world was the most fearful of what's to come, Rogan tweeted a cheap shot at President Trump for calling COVID-19 the Chinese flu.
Oh.
Now, let me explain something to you, Josh. COVID-19 originated in China. It was covered up for weeks in China. Doctors who knew too much were silenced in China. Infected people for weeks fled China. We're all in this show because of China. So, yeah, it's the Chinese flu.
Are we all in this show because of China? What is U.S. foreign policy with China? How is that going? Is it because they have a wet market? Can they sell their goods in some other way? Do people have access to other things? What? Let's talk about systems. Okay, these people just reduce everything down to one virus came this one way, instead of, hey, we're all part of this whole world and everybody's playing a part here. And let's sit down and take responsibility for where we can change things if we don't want viruses coming out of anywhere. Trump is just mad because China's penis is bigger than his. I mean, really, just like Steve said, they're emitting more emissions. They're bigger than us. Mucklor, hi. Isn't the U.S. supposed to take care of their own security? How did they let the situation get out of hand there? Thank you. Why? That's a great point. Why don't they call it the Trump failed virus, the Trump failed pandemic? Why don't we call it that? Let's do it. At act.tv, we've been looking at places. You know how they call Joe Biden Sleepy Joe? We've been thinking about what to call Donald Trump. We've got Sleazy Don. We've got Depression Don. We've got Economic Crash Don. Any ideas we'll take. Put them in there. Let's watch the rest of this thing. No, you're right, McClure. Yeah. Ayo, I'm just trying to reply to this nonsense, because isn't it all about security? That sounds like a big failure in security. It is. Ain't that the truth?
It's the Wuhan flu. And no, it's not racist to call it that. You, Josh Rogan, have officially delivered the high water mark in peak stupid.
It is kind of racist to call it that. I could see calling it the Wuhan virus when it first originated in Wuhan, but now it's everywhere. Why don't they call it the Italian virus? And honestly, it's been all over the place for a long time, if you're reading the news reports. So God knows. Anyway, here we go.
But guess what, folks? To be completely fair and unbiased,
I mean, is it racist, or just does it put in the wrong hands when you call it the Chinese flu or the Wuhan flu? Put ideas in the hands of people so that they're like, Chinese flu, their fault. Let's beat them up on the street. You know what I mean? It's just not a good idea. Whether it's racist or not, it's just not a great idea. I leave that to other people who are like racial justice experts to parse. And I'd like to hear your thoughts. But it's not a smart idea to keep peace by calling it the Wuhan flu or the Chinese flu. But Trump ain't about keeping peace. He's about sowing discord and division. So the issue isn't, is it racist? The issue is, does it sow unity or does it sow division? Talk amongst yourselves. Bike Talk Guru, Trump kisses China's butt. So now Trump has a Chinese butt breath. Trump praised China for their handling of the flu, remember? Or have you forgotten that? No, he hasn't. I like how you're yelling at that guy through me. I like the Trump flu. Yeah, Trump flu. Good. Yes, Spanish flu. And that one didn't even start in Spain. Thank you. Wait, we've been followed by someone called Whites Will Not Be Replaced. And act.tv's bot thanked for the follow. Okay, people, get ready. Whites will not be replaced. Just followed us. Damn. Okay, let's keep. Maybe he saw that we're actually watching Fox, so he thinks that's what he's going to get. And I'm using he because it probably is a guy.
The other side is at fault too. Fox's Trish Regan, among others, went so far as to downplay the conspiracy rabbit hole as to proclaim the coronavirus is a hoax and not nearly as deadly as being reported, a hoax perpetrated by Democrats to bring down Trump in his bid for re-election.
To tipping point, the chorus of hate.
Oh, I like that shirt. Anyway, I like that hairstyle.
Being leveled at the president is nearing a crescendo as Democrats blame him and only him for a virus that originated halfway around the world. This is yet another attempt to impeach the president.
I'm hot for my age.
Regan was benched immediately for making such an asinine claim. What we in America this week steered clear of the politics from the start. Last week, we gave you a special jammed filled with facts, loaded with the top doctors in the war on the coronavirus, and I promise you to stay on policy and away from the politics as best I can. There'll be a time for playing politics, to take sides and to play the ball.
I'm gonna get all the fucking cougar lovers are gonna be in this stream chat. Do it now. Get in there.
Blame game, but now is certainly not that.
Oh, what happened? That was it? Okay, good, because I'm done with this fucking guy. Any more? Here's him having a one-on-one with Brett Gitter.
And doctors.
I haven't heard it. I'm just gonna have contempt for it prior to investigating it. Isn't that my job?
I have this question for you. I've been the last few weeks on China. I'm talking about the wet markets, the biolabs in China. Now, because of what I'm seeing.
Wet markets are a thing. Biolabs. Now we're talking about how the virus escaped from a biolab. Listen, hey, I'm on the left. We are the head of conspiracy theory and tinfoil headism. Okay, so it's not too crazy to think that maybe this escaped from a lab. I don't know, and I don't fucking care. I just know, like, how are we going to deal with it? Okay, if it did escape from some Wuhan lab and it got all over the country, then back to McCore's point about the fact that this is a failure in security. Ayo, what about your love for the military? Mukor says, yes, the Spanish flu is so called because it was mainly reported about in Spain. Yes, I'll let you figure it out. Okay, here we go.
I'm seeing young, healthy people dying. I'm seeing bodies lined up. I'm seeing people that you've never seen before dying. And I know this is not what you're charged with, but you're a friend of mine. I've known you a while. You're a great doctor. You're a great virologist.
Let me massage your dick a little bit more while we're having this conversation.
It just feels to me, and I'm not a statistician. I'm nothing more.
I know nothing. I'm not a statistician. I'm not a doctor. I don't fucking know a fucking thing. But anyway, my feelings say this. And feelings, as we all know, are facts.
More than an observer of life. This virus feels to me that it was more engineered than simply someone eating a bat in China in a wet market and it jumping from animal to human. Is this an engineered virus, in your opinion?
From what I see, there's no fingerprints of it being engineered by humans. In other words,
even Fauci said that, and nobody trusts him. Oh wait, no, we all trust him. No, wait.
there's no fingerprints of it being actively genetically manipulated or pieces being put together. There are signatures of that, and I have not seen any evidence of that. It does not mean that this native virus, that this dangerous virus, wasn't in a lab somewhere and got out. But it looks like a natural virus.
Okay, so this guy is basically saying, no, I don't think so. Don't think so. Looks like a natural thing. But the fact that a newscaster says, I'm just thinking this, that makes other people think, yeah, I'm just thinking this too. And I think it's really because we haven't had pandemics in quite a long time. We maybe had some Ebola. We maybe had measles or whatever. I don't know if that would be considered. We had outbreaks of things, but not a global pandemic in, say, my entire lifetime. And I'm, as that guy said, hot for my age, which means I'm not young. So anyway, you see the point I'm trying to make here? And the point I'm trying to make? Getting the masses to think that China poisoned the planet on purpose is good for the racist agenda. So true, Miss Rogers Live. You all make the good points. Ink Blop, I'm not a doctor, a statistician. I'm first grade reading level. All I know is that aliens sold COVID to China so they could kill the lizard people. We should have asked our guest yesterday about that, the scientists. Okay, so anyway, here we go.
Similar to other coronaviruses. And
the fact that a news person would ask that question and be like, I feel this way. This is how I feel. Then it makes people say, well, I had that thought. If he feels that way, I guess it's okay to feel that way because he's a respected journalist person on my TV. And okay, most of us don't respect these people. Most of us here, but like your mom might, and people who are just hanging might, One of Trump's valets tested positive. Okay, that is terrible. I am very sorry for the valet. I just have one question. Do they have that window between the front and the back, or is it open? Okay, you are arguing that after centuries of naming diseases and locations, they originated, all of a sudden the world has magically stopped doing so 5 years ago, and the entire world fell online. Yes, Alley Cat, because we have the internet now, and we have the WHO. They didn't have that centuries ago. The U.S. intelligence brought the outbreak possibility to Trump in November. Yes, but Trump was concerned about China trade deal. Plus, Trump won't read any reports and won't listen to anything he does not want to hear. Exactly, Babel. Bike shop guru.
The wet markets are really just a petri dish for all kinds of awful things to happen, because humans and exotic animals and various forms of animals are brought together in very close quarters, and that is just a time bomb ready to go off. And how many times have we seen that already explode already? So I think we really need.
It doesn't help that the wet market is right next to like a bio lab. I'm just saying, if you're going to have a wet market, maybe you could put it down the street a little bit.
To be very active about, and I want to be respectful of everyone's culture and all of that, but when you have something that could literally wipe out the world's population, I think you need to take that seriously, and there needs to be some collective action.
McClure, it was New Amsterdam, I think. New York was. Act.tv. Scientists give viruses scientific names as actual identifiers. Governments and their national fanbois are the ones who proliferate biased location-based names for viruses. Yeah. I thought it was one of Trump's mental aides tested pot. Mental aides? He has the mental aides? That's funny. I don't know. I just want, a sane government. So I wonder if it was the valet who takes him for his McDonald's hamburgers. Does he have a special McDonald's, like a government McDonald's? Viruses aside, humans deserve better than wet markets. Yeah, animals deserve it too. Animals deserve better than wet markets. Gross.